This is Dream Power Radio, the place where your dreams turn into reality. Here is your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Hello, and welcome to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, the Dream Coach. This is a show where we talk about dreams, both daytime and nighttime dreams, and how you can use them to make the internal shift to a life you love and rediscover the truth of who you really are. Do you feel fulfilled? Are you satisfied with where you are in your life? Are you achieving your goals and loving them? Are you making the kind of money you feel you deserve? If the answer to any of these is no, I have some good news for you. It doesn't have to be this way. My guest, award-winning author, coach, and as he puts it, recovering mathematician, Howard Sambol, has some answers for you. Howard is a life fulfillment catalyst and is the author of the best-selling book, Craft Your Genius Life. He's helped thousands of people create successful money-making businesses and live dream lives that they truly love. Welcome to Dream Power Radio, Howard.
Well, I'm excited to be here. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Well, I am too. But before we get started, I just want to ask you this question. What is a life fulfillment catalyst?
Oh, well, that's a great question. It's somebody who, of course, a catalyst suggests somebody who's present, facilitating some kind of shift or transformation through their presence, and of course, techniques as well. But someone who facilitates or empowers people to create a life of fulfillment. And a life of fulfillment is more than just the material success, but it includes creativity, deep satisfaction, and feeling like every day is just a beautiful new adventure of discovery and possibility.
You would think that we all would have that because it's something we all want, but why do you believe, or what is it that you think stops people from achieving their goals and achieving what they want?
I would say that, Debbie, that the number one thing is not believing that they can have it. Beliefs, of course, always dictate everything, particularly the deep, subconsciously held beliefs that we don't consciously know we have. Another theme that I often talk about is permission. Like, people have different levels of permission of what they can be, do, or have, or even what they can know, or even what they can say. This all, of course, ties in with belief work. So in life crafting, we work at a very deep level to shift beliefs, to open up possibilities, and then we help people engage with their creative self and their playful inner child, which opens up the magic, creates the possibility of the magic. Then we get super pragmatic and super focused and get everything aligned so that they can live in alignment with their purpose and also make an impact in the world, which of course leads to profit and money and success. When you give value in the world to others, then you receive. It's the law of the universe.
Yeah, isn't it funny that when we're kids, we don't think about these great life issues. We just go out there, we do what we want, and we just do it. So you help people achieve that same childlike enthusiasm.
Yes, absolutely. There is a wonderful childlike innocence and wonderful playfulness that one of my greatest joys in my work is to see that reignite, to reignite in people, to awaken in people, okay? So to use an example, one of my clients right now is a Virgo with a very, very strict, super strict upbringing, do it right, do it exact, always critical, etc. And yet she has this beautiful spirit, but it's been, pushed down for so long. So now we're working on getting it out in the open again and having fun with it.
But how do you do that with a person like that?
Well, it's a combination of different skills. And let me just say this also, Debbie, the word skill is interesting because to the average person, the word skill is external, like carpentry, computer programming, plumbing, but I have expanded the word skill to include internal skills. My philosophy in life is that nobody is broken and nobody needs fixing, but people are lacking in mastery, in personal mastery related skills. So the first thing we do with somebody is get them to be aware. Awareness is always the first step. Be able to have access to what we call their witness or observer self, so that they can see themselves and all their experiences from that sort of dispassionate and compassionate place. Then they can enter into mindfulness practices of noticing, allowing, instead of pushing, forcing, striving, trying to use their will, just more in an allowing space. Then we begin to work on beliefs, and we can begin to identify specific limiting beliefs that have been literally debilitating. And we have methods for shifting those beliefs at the subconscious level. So now there's this beautiful ripple effect, like the rock in the pond, boom, 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 and you can see all the new changes. Now, while all this is going on, we help the person clarify their life purpose. Like, why are you here? Why did you come to this planet? Not anything like what's on your resume. We don't really care about that. But, getting to that inner place of truth and passion and awareness, and also your unique genius. From that emanates, extraordinary awakening and awareness. And then we take the last step, which was, how can you create extraordinary value for others while doing something you love? And the answer to that question leads inevitably to their ultimate business, where they make money doing what they love and they have their greatest contribution to others. That's just a short little version of the recipe.
It's very interesting that you say all of that, because I'm drawn back to the whole idea of self-limiting beliefs. And a lot of times you would tend to think, oh, well, we get those beliefs because of something terrible that happened to us in our childhood. And the truth is, it's not necessarily that. So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
In fact, a great example that I use is the example of a man who has a boy who he dearly loves, and he starts him out at age 3, 4, telling him, son, life is hard. You just have to make the best of things. And he keeps repeating again and again, life is hard, life is hard. And the father truly feels that he's helping his son deal with life the way that it really is. So he's not in some, panacea or some fantasy. Meanwhile, the boy is absorbing this more and more. By the time he's 8 or 10, he has no conscious recollection that his father indoctrinated him in this belief. But if we fast forward to age 40, now the man is struggling with so many things and has no clue whatsoever why, unless somebody comes along and grabs him by the shoulder and shakes him and say, you have a limiting belief, it's time to wake up. But that invariably does not happen. And so that's why it's sad that people will tend to just live out these beliefs, these unconscious beliefs, and not really even know they're there.
But the good news is that once you realize what that belief is, you change it.
Open the doorway, it's kind of like, to use a computer analogy, if you wrote some computer code 40 years ago and you didn't save the file in an encrypted file, and there was no debugging tool, so there was no way you could open the file or read the file, and you couldn't debug it, then you would have the equivalent of people's belief systems. In life crafting, fortunately, we have the debugging tool, and we have the way to open the file, to read the file, and we can teach you how to do your own debugging, which is empowerment, not helping, rescuing, or saving, but empowering people so they become their own master in working with beliefs, and they become their own master in bringing forth their genius and their love into the world in whatever way that form that takes.
Do you find that there's one belief that's common, the most common one, or is there many?
I would say there's probably about 5 or 10 that are extremely common that we encounter as we peel the onion down. We keep seeing them. Because I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. I can't something fill in the blank. No matter how much I try, I can't fill in the blank. Some variations on those. I mean, and whatever. And no one really loves me. I mean, even though they might say people won't this or they won't that, but if you peel that down, it always comes back to I'm not lovable or people just won't love me.
Mhm. But that is fixable.
Oh, all of it is totally fixable, and in a remarkably short time frame and remarkably simple kind of way. Once you have the key, and you can open the door, and you can actually see the beliefs, and you cannot judge them. Have lots of love and compassion. See them, and then just be fun and creative in transforming them. Then it's a good analogy is like Neo in the Matrix movie, when all the things are, like all reality is like plastic and it's all movable and changeable. It's kind of like that.
I have found that something that I see that holds a lot of people back is fear. How do you address that?
Fear is a function of beliefs. It's still a function of beliefs. So, to give your audience an idea of how we work with the question might be worded like, "What would somebody need to believe in order to be afraid of X?" And you then substitute X for wherever there's a fear. And what happens is that you keep running the same question repeatedly over and over again, and you fill up a page of all the possible beliefs that could cause a person to have fear of something. Invariably, what happens, there's going to be a few beliefs on the page that have some emotional charge to them. You zero in them quickly, and you know exactly the culprits, the beliefs that are causing the most damage that need to be shifted.
Yeah, it seems also that you're asking the kind of questions that people never get asked.
No, they know exactly. They never ask. They don't know how to ask, and that's really I guess one of the greatest benefits in our program is that just these simple skills. They're incredibly. And like I said earlier, to mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Just aware and a notice. Just to notice and let go of judgment. Be aware. Because meditation, what is it? It's focusing your attention, noticing when it drifts, bringing it back gently. So if you live in a mindfulness state, you live the same way. You notice, you allow, you accept, and you keep your attention focused where you want, because your attention is what creates. Your attention is the tool of creation.
Oh, I couldn't agree with that more. In fact, that's what dream work is about.
Yeah.
It's getting in tune with your subconscious so that you understand yourself in a way that you might not otherwise.
Yeah, dreams are also an incredibly creative medium of dialogue with yourself and your subconscious and your spirit, and having a really beautiful way of just unraveling things and making discoveries. Now, of course, maybe your audience doesn't quite know yet that I'm a master astrologer, so I probably want to mention that I bring astrology in a very powerful way into this arena through being able to see people's spiritual paths and see their journey evolution, see the opportunities and challenges ahead and what purpose they serve. So all of that gets blended into the life crafting process.
Yeah, I want to talk more about that, but we have to take a short break now.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, we are speaking with Life Fulfillment Catalyst, Howard Sambol, and we'll be right back. When is a car not a car? When it shows up in your dreams. Cars are one of the most common dream symbols. If you don't know why you're dreaming about cars or any image, it can leave you confused or scared. But that dream could be a solution to a pressing problem, or an insight into a solution that's been bugging you for years. Go to my website and sign up for a complimentary discovery session, and I'll help you understand why a dream is a terrible thing to waste. Go to thedreamcoach.net for more information.
Welcome back to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Yes, welcome back to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, and we're talking about living your dream life with life fulfillment catalyst, Howard Sambol. Well, Howard, just before the break, you were telling us about how you blend astrology into your whole program. And so I want to go back to the first person you mentioned. You said she was a Virgo. So do you think her being a Virgo, somebody in the same life circumstances as her who might have been a Taurus would act totally differently?
Well, there are going to be unquestionably many major differences. And of course, you may realize that it's never just being a Virgo or being a Taurus, it's your whole birth chart. So you've got all the planets and all the aspects and all the house placements. It's a rather complex picture, but it's also a blueprint of why you're here and what your spiritual purpose is, what you're here to learn, what you're here to give, and then the timing factors, as I said before, when certain important changes or opportunities, come up. So that's the beauty of being an astrologer from a creative standpoint and having so many other disciplines or practices that you can blend together. So you're seeing solution, you're seeing the chart patterns, and you're seeing what's kind of the lesson to be learned, etc. But then you're also seeing exactly what the best resources are to be able to address that. And that's how pragmatism, my pragmatic view and my spiritual information can beautifully dovetail together.
It's nice to have the combination. I'm a full believer in having practical answers to things, but sometimes the practical doesn't come from a book or just reading something. It comes from the subconscious.
It can come from almost anywhere. I'm also trained in NLP, neurolinguistics, so I know how to do outcomes and how to, again, peel the onion down and get to what it is that people want. If you ever try this fun experiment, ask somebody what they want, then change the subject, come back 2 minutes later and ask them again, now what is it that you really want? They'll tell you something different. Then spend a couple minutes on a different topic, come back, and once again they'll tell you something different, because you're peeling the onion, you're also getting different aspects, and you're getting perceptions, not necessarily what people are, the lens people are looking through. People make up stories about their experiences almost instantaneously, and then they believe the stories and they forget the experience. And then the stories wind up becoming a narrative, over years. Sometimes 10 years later, they're still running the same story. So in life crafting, we teach people how to separate experience from story. How to enjoy the story if you want, but realize it has nothing to do with the experience.
Right, because the story is a story, and because the story is something you make up, you can change it.
Along with the story, we often have things like emotional triggers. Like you're triggered and you react, and it's all reacting mechanisms that come back to wounds, and then ultimately beliefs again. So all of these things we're talking about are parts of consciousness, which if you ignore them, you're just going to be like a pinball machine, bing, 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 jumping around. So when you gain mastery of self and you bring focus to your life through life purpose, you have a great support system, you have a clear goals, you use your dreams as a guidance, as a force of guidance in you, then you're going to get on a path towards your fulfilled your ultimately fulfilled life. That sort of sums it up, I think.
I just wanted to clarify one thing, because at the beginning I introduced you as somebody who helps people start their businesses and, get
Yeah,
developments.
we do. We absolutely do that.
But is it then that you really work on them getting clarity in their personal
Well, the,
life
cla-
before that?
the clarity and personal mastery are the first stages of life crafting. Once they've done those, then we get very business oriented, and we really determine the optimum business that's based again on what they love and their genius. If you combine what you love and what your genius is, you can then define a target market. You can define who you can best serve with your gifts. And then we take people through a progression of steps with marketing, with sales, with launching their product. We use something called the leveraged business model. So they're not doing nickel and dime, that they can actually make good money even at the launch of their business, and we move them along on that process. We can get very business. We go very deep into business once people are ready for that step.
Right. And I understand that you take a lot of people who've been working in jobs, like working for somebody else, and
Yeah,
get them
yes.
to creating their own
Very,
business.
yeah, it's very common to take people who've reached a stage in their corporate job career where they're burned out, where they're, just wits end. They don't know what to do. They're freaked out because the kids are in college. They need the money. They don't know, with all those crazy things. And that, interesting, Debbie, leads me to one of my two offers that I'd like to give your audience. It's something called the Life Fulfillment Business Roadmap, and people can download it for free. It's a full-on ebook, like a 40-page ebook that takes this entire process we've been discussing today and breaks it all down into chapters with stories that people can read, the real life stories, and read of how all the parts have worked for people. So you have a link for the roadmap. I'd love for people to get into that, because it's just, and then amazing. Then there's another offer of my book, Craft Your Genius Life, which we have in a PDF downloadable form, and there's a link for that as well, that people can get that.
Oh, that's great. Yes, it will be, for those of you listening, it'll be in the show notes. So you go to your podcast site and read that big description next to it. The link will be in
Yeah.
there.
And then I make myself available to anybody who wants to chat. I'm open. I just love meeting new people and love connecting and being of service. So there will be ways, if you want to just email me or whatever, we can chat.
And I'll ask you about that too when we get toward the end of
Oh,
this
okay.
discussion. But before that, I just wanted to ask you, since we're on the subject of careers and then starting businesses and things, are there symptoms that people could be made aware of to make them realize that it's time for them to leave where they are?
Oh, there's it's very funny. There are actually dozens of symptoms, dozens of great symptoms. If you hate your job, that's a symptom. If you dread every morning getting up and going to work, that's a symptom. If you're constantly feeling like you're at odds with your environment, like people at work don't understand you, you never have a chance to be who you really want to be. If there's no opportunities for creativity on the job, if you're feeling like you're just some cog in a wheel, helping the company make more millions or billions, but it's not really holding any meaning to you personally. These are all symptoms. If you're at wit's end, you're just frazzled emotionally, you're not having fun, you're not enjoying yourself, you're not having fun. They're all symptoms. And no matter how bleak it may seem, because you're so locked in financially to the job, because of your financial circumstance, and you dread the thought of going out and having to get another position, just trust and be open. Keep an open mind. That's all I say. Keep an open mind and trust, and get in touch. Download our roadmap. Get in touch with me. I promise you there is light on the other side of the tunnel. And there's potential and there's ways of breaking out of these. And we've done this for decades, helping people break free from the whatever the I don't know what I call it, slavery, slavery mode, whatever. There's ways to break free and have a really amazing life in
Yeah.
1 or 2 year time frame. It's not a very lengthy thing. People can do it.
Yeah, one of the things I always like to say is it's never too late.
It's never too late to be there's some jokes about them. Never too late to have a good childhood. It's never too late to figure out what you want to be when you grow up. Hey, that's a good one.
Absolutely. So you said it's like a 1 to 2 year process to go through the program, or
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it depends. Some people in a year could do it in a year. Some people maybe a little longer, depending on a number of different factors, and everything is personalized and individualized. Even though we have a body of material, we have a methodology, but it's always customized to the person and adapted to the person.
understand that. I always like to hear examples. So can you give me another example of somebody who's achieved success through this system?
Yeah, I could. One of my favorite stories is a man who was in the IT industry. This goes pretty far back to like 2007 maybe. He was in the IT field. He was doing pretty well, but he was miserable because he had a tremendous interest in holistic health, but he never studied it formally, so he didn't have any degrees or certificates. But he was literally a genius. I mean, he could read papers designed for PhDs in biochemistry and understand them, but he didn't have any credibility and any way to get started, right? So we developed, and this was in those days, 2007, it was pretty kind of early in the game. We developed a wellness coaching practice. Now, when you label yourself a wellness coach, people don't generally delve into your credentials as much because they don't think of it as, they don't take it lighter. Anyway, he had immediate success in that. He got a lot of referrals. And then the most remarkable thing happened. He got some cancer patients that the medical establishment had kind of given up on, that, there was no hope really much. And anyway, he created these turnarounds, these miraculous, unbelievable turnarounds, which for him were not so far-fetched. To others, they looked miraculous. Anyway, he became known as the Overcoming Cancer Coach, and he needed to keep a low profile for fairly obvious reasons. But he did have times when doctors would take him to lunch to pick his brain because they never learned anything in medical school about what he knew or all the things that he was using. So that's one of my absolutely favorite stories.
Oh, that is wonderful. And I can't believe this has gone by so fast. We're just about out of time. You talked about the offers that you have for my listeners, but I want to ask you, how can they get in touch with you and learn more about you?
Oh, absolutely. Well, my email address is howard@lifecraftingprogram.com. And I welcome emails from you really or anyone in your audience just to chat or ask a question or set up a no-cost like discovery session, or whatever. One thing we did not discuss in our session today was cryptocurrency, which is a whole other dimension of life crafting. So people can check in with me on that if they like.
Well, Howard, thank you so much for being on Dream Power Radio today.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure and a lot of fun. I enjoyed our conversation.
Oh, I did too. Thank you. We've been speaking all about how to create your dream business with Fulfillment Catalyst coach, Howard Sambol. I hope you've enjoyed today's program. If you have, please tell all your friends, follow me, and drop a positive review on your podcast site. Until next time, this is Debbie Spector-Weissman saying, sweet dreams, everybody.
You've been listening to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman. For more information on Debbie or to sign up for her newsletter, go go to dreampowerradio.com. This has been Dream Power Radio.